never say, never make it easier to numb out all the pain. Not like anything was wrong, it never made it right. You're the one to come on strong, so why am I all alone? Here we go again, the same old thing, smiling through a bleeding heart. I'll fake it till I break apart.
Coca-Cola.
Everything you never do, and all you never say, never make it easier to numb out all the pain. Not like anything was wrong, it never made it right. You're the one to come on strong, so why am I all alone? Here we go again, the same old thing, smiling through a bleeding heart. I'll fake it till I break apart.
Oh, yes! 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 We finally got a weapon we can use that's good. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's a 2.8 attack speed, but oh my god, 23 strength. Finally a weapon we could use. What level am I? 44, right? Alright. Wow. It'll take me a while to level this up, but man, finally a weapon we can use. And only because I changed the rules on my challenge, just saying, because I wasn't getting any weapons and I was fishing and over hours and hours. What's up, Josh? Yeah, the thing is, I created this character and I created a really specific set of rules for this character. Right? I said this character cannot use any weapons at all other than me. This character can't use ranged weapons at all. Can't use any ranged weapons. I can use them as a stat stake. Like if I get a bow or something that's got stats on it, I can equip it, but I can't use it. Like if you look at my skills, I've never fired a bow, right? Like if you look at my bow skill is 1, which when you start the game, your bow skill is 1, right? So I've never fired a bow. Crossbow, I trained crossbows only because if I get a crossbow that's got stats on it, I can equip it, but I can't use it. Crossbows skill 1, guns skill 1. I got a gutbuster drop off the Naga, which is amazing because of the stats. Look, 8 agility, 3 strength. So we can't use it. We can't shoot it, but we can equip it for the stats. So the problem was I was saying that I could only use weapons up until level 52. I was saying I could only use weapons that are found in treasure chests or, fishing containers or any kind of a container we have to open. So if I do a quest that gives a reward of like a sack, you have to open the sack to see what's inside it. If there was a weapon in there, we could equip it. But what was happening is, first off, I wasn't getting very many weapons, and second, I was spending so much time fishing. Like I was spending hours and hours and hours fishing, just getting the mithril bound boxes. And one day I fished up 72 mithril bound boxes, looted them all, and I only got one weapon. And it was a freaking mace, which I can't use maces. And that's when I got really frustrated. And I said, you know what? I'm going to change my rules. And I'm going to say, okay, starting now at level 52, if a weapon drops off of a mob in the world, I can use it. I still can't use any weapons from dungeons. I don't care what drops in a dungeon. If it's off a mob, if it's a boss, I can't use it. You can't buy weapons from vendors, and I can't use weapons from quest rewards. So the only way we could get a weapon that we could use, it has to drop off a monster in the world, in the open world. And I changed that rule at 52, and from 52 I hadn't really gotten anything until just now. I mean, I gotten this two-hand gray sword off a Naga out in Ashara, but it was pretty crappy. But this is the first time we've actually had a weapon, and this is level 43, which it's kind of funny. I'm 54, so you would think this is like, most people would think, well, this is a shitty weapon. It's slow. It's fast. It's 2.8, which is really, really fast for a two-hand weapon, which is really, really, so it's really bad for me, to be honest. But the thing is, my main hand weapon that I was using is this one, which I've been using since level 35. So I'm level 54, and I still was using a level 35 weapon, which its top-end damage is only 81. So you go from a top-end damage of 81 for my Raptor Strike crits, right, to a top-end damage of 141 with 23 strength, right, is huge. So my Raptor Strike crits are going to be massive. So we were doing 82 DPS per second. So it'll be interesting to see how much damage we do with this weapon once we get it skilled up. Because right now, obviously I'm at skill like level 1 or something. So. But if this is at least a respectable weapon, at least it does decent damage compared to like that level 35 axe I'd been using. So yes, our polearm skill is 4. We'd never used a polearm before. Yeah. Yeah, the fishing was just... The problem with not getting a weapon from fishing was that it was taking too much time away from actually leveling. Like, I wasn't leveling. My character was sitting at like level 52 for like 18 hours because I spent like 10 hours fishing. And that's what really made me change my mind on how I was gonna, do the weapons, because, I want to get to 60. I don't want to do something that's going to just sit there and slow me down like really drastically, which I felt like that rule set was really just hindering my ability to level in any kind of a decent rate. So we'll see what time. Let's mark the time on the stream. It's probably around 33 minutes or something. 32, 33 minutes. Let's go here. We'll say 2 minutes into stream. Bone chewer. That way we can do we'll do like a YouTube short later showing that I got the weapon, which is nice. Finally a decent weapon. This one's always a bitch to get to. Yeah. Is it? Oh, we don't need to go all the way up. Never mind. Somebody die up here? Oh no, it's Dreamfoil. I thought that was a corpse. Thought it was a corpse. Let's do a quick check for crystals.
City hums, it knows my secrets. I'm awake, tangled in regrets. Every scar I try to hide led me here, nowhere to run tonight. There's a spark I can't contain, rising slow through all my veins.
the problem with Ungoro Crater is I can sit out here and just pick up like crystals and soil and sprouts like pretty much nonstop, because all of these things are repeat turn-in quests, you know, which is kind of funny. I mean, but it slows down your leveling, but some of this stuff is actually pretty useful, you know. The blood pretle sprouts, kind of similar to the repeatable turn-in quest in Tenaris with the wasteland water pouches, because when you turn it in, it's just going to give you like random stuff, but some of it can be really good. I mean, you can get like potions and, you know, like food, and it's decent. It's not great. It's the repeatable ungrown soil is better because you actually get like real potions, like, you know, elixirs of agility and kind of like really nice potions that you can actually get from those repeat turn-in from the what is the pouch called? Some sort of like pouch that you get these seeds and you use them with the soil to get something else. Then when you get so many of those, then you open those up and you're looking for a specific item, the moral grain, and when you get like 10 moral grain, you turn that in, and it's just this kind of grind, but it's pretty worth it. I think I also think you get a lot of experience as well from each turn-in on that one, and reputation, so it's actually definitely worth doing the repeatable moral grain quest line, which we can start up as soon as we run back and turn in the current quest we have, which to get the ungrown soil. Oh, I actually landed the blow with my Raptor Strike. I think it's one of the first ones we landed. Yes, you miss. Miss. Our skill's so low with the pole arm. Crystals we want are yellow and blue. Those are the ones we want the most, because those are going to give us our crystal spire, which is going to give us basically our lightning shield. And at higher levels, when we have more dodge and more agility, we can actually tank mobs and just let mobs hit me and proc our mongoose bite. And then also, I don't think this guy's aggressive, is he? I don't think he is. Yeah, he's not. But yeah, once we get to higher level, we can actually use our lightning shield and proc our mongoose bite and actually tank mobs up and actually do pretty well. Do pretty well for ourselves. Yeah, like I said, we can just run around. We can just run around Ungoro for hours and hours and hours, just picking up crystals, sprouts, and Ungoro soil. I try not to get too crazy with it, but it's hard not to. So I'm like, oh, this stuff gives me free stuff. We're up to 118 Ungoro soil. I wish we had 1,000 Ungoro soil. Okay, we're not going to do the Mighty Uka follow-up. No, thank you. Too dangerous. At least at this level, it is. I was gonna say, how did I pull threat?
Kept in the dark. Am I so useless? Mouth folded shut, and I'm feeling restless. All the seams erupt, tearing from the inside, jagged little cuts. It feels like war this time. The ground was bare. I tried to drown. The emptiness couldn't turn it all around. Pull the shutter. See the world fly by like images on fire.
See, my pet's, because I got the new weapon, my pet's doing 63% of the total damage. Because Mike can't do shit with this weapon yet because my skill's too low.
Show me something real. Make me feel alive. Nothing to conceal. Dress me up in all the lights. Everyone's someone. Half the speed of light. I don't wanna get it wrong, but it's too late to make it right. Too watching from a distance in a crowded room, looking over silhouettes, hoping just to find you. All I knew was lost, fading on the outside. No one counts the cost, burning from the inside. All the hype was bought, senses wearing down, finding empty stares. Couldn't turn it all around. Lit the fuses, see the world drift by like shadows in the night.
I'm just spamming wing clip to level up my polearm skill.
Thinking I could change it. Show me something real. Make me feel alive. Nothing to conceal. Dress me up in all the lights. Everyone is someone. Half the speed of light. I don't wanna get it wrong, but it's too late to make it right.
don't think I've ever checked over in this area before. Let's see what we got over here. I like to throw crystals in these little nooks and crannies like this, as you can see. But yeah, it's so easy for me to just get on this kind of like picking up crystals tangent, where we just run around and pick up crystals for hours, but that's going to slow down my leveling, so I gotta kind of, like the ADHD I have, or whatever, I don't know what it is, but man, I can pull, what is it? I'm not sure which disorder I have that makes me want to just keep picking up crystals. It's like, damn it, stop picking up crystals. I see them and they're there. It's like, look, shiny. Shiny. Just can't stop picking them up. But the blue and the yellow for sure we definitely want, because we definitely want Crystal Spire, and we want a shit ton of Crystal Spire, so always pick up blue and yellow. Good stop thinking about it. Yeah, I'm gonna be, like I said, I'm gonna be going back and forth on the Warlock and the Hunter. Yeah, just I'm not doing Shadow Bolt. It's just instant cast spells or whatever.
What brings you here? Ancestors watch over you. Greetings, traveler.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to just rotate. Like, so today I'm playing the Hunter right now, so the next stream I do will be the Warlock, and then the next stream will be the Hunter, and we're just gonna go back and forth. Hunter, Warlock, Hunter, Warlock. I really want to get the Hunter to 60. So, but I actually was enjoying the Warlock, and I created some pretty cool like stream overlays to make my like hotbar look cooler. So here I'll show you. Like here I'll click them on now. They won't look like, they'll look really crappy here, but so now if you look at the bottom of the stream, you can see like on my hotbar, you'll see all these little candles. And you'll even see some smoke, like beneath my hotbar slot 1, there's some smoke on the ground, and over beneath the furthest hotbar slot on the right, you'll see some smoke. So when I do the Warlock, those effects are kind of under the skulls, you know, you'll see the skulls on my hotbar on the left and right, and then you see the smoke kind of rising up beneath the skulls. It actually looks pretty cool. So just kind of trying to make the kind of fit the you know, the mood, the mode, you know, make that Warlock feel kind of creepy and diabolical. Ooh, look at that Raptor Strike crit, 420. That got his attention. So our weapon's still super low, but it's to the point where I'm actually starting to land some strikes. But if you look here on my skill, it's probably still like, I think max for me is like 260 maybe. Let's see. Yeah, 270. So 270. So right now we're like 192. So we're still like 78 points off of maxing out my polearm skill. Another 400 plus crit with Raptor Strike. That's pretty nice. Getting those bigger Raptor Strikes feels a lot better. Oop. Yeah, it's kind of fun. We have a completely different UI set up for the Warlock than we do for the Hunter. I'm using Guild Wars 2 UI for the Hunter UI, but for the Warlock, I'm just using Bartender 4, and just some custom interface, files. Let's see if we can look at them. Yeah, we're just using these custom interface BLP files. Actually, what we should do is take all of these. I'm surprised that those don't mess up my. They don't mess up my Guild Wars 2, but it doesn't. Doesn't seem to. Interesting. That's interesting, actually. I gotta pull a mob over the eggs here to get the other raptor to come out, I think. Although I think there's a cooldown on the eggs. I think. No, here it comes. No? Oh, that's just a runner. Bummer. Ooh, another big Raptor Strike crit. 415 damage. Look at that Raptor Strike crit. Boom! You gotta love the juicy crits. Strafe, what's up, man? Did you see we finally got an upgraded weapon? Strafe, we got our first upgrade. We got our first weapon drop from that wasn't a gray that was better than a gray item. And it was a blue item. The Bone Chewer. So we're still trying to skill up the polearm skill. So RNGesus was kind to us. RNGesus was kind. He blessed us tonight with the Bone Chewer. I know, it is about time. There he comes.
The winds guide you. Go in peace. May the eternal sun shine.
Well, pretty good, I guess. I mean, all things. I don't know. Things have been rough. I'm not gonna lie. Things in real life in RL have not been easy the last few months. With my wife's sickness and with work being the way work is, so things have been rough. And I'd say this past year has been. Actually, the past 2 years have been really, really hard for me. That's and I think you can tell on the stream I'm pretty beat up. I'm tired, and I play WoW to try to de-stress from the RL shit. But it is what it is, man. It's just life. I know things will get better. Just gonna take time. I mean, it really just depends. I mean, my wife's medical. If her health doesn't improve, things won't get better. I mean, to be honest, they're not going to get better if her health doesn't improve. Things are going to be pretty rough, but we just, live day by day and see what what God has planned for us. I guess I don't know what else to say. Just see what happens, I guess. Hopefully things are going good for you guys. I was thinking about the Warlock this morning. I think the reason I don't like, not that I don't like Warlocks, I think Warlocks are fun, but the reason I enjoy like the Hunter more is the Hunter's more like, I like classes where you're like in the face of the enemy, like you're up there like beating him in the face with a weapon, and that's the cool part about the Hunter, the melee Hunter. Now the Warlock though, because once we get the Firestone, hopefully we'll be doing, a lot of that, like right in the face of the enemy and kind of beating him in the face. I don't know how well that's going to work, or like what kind of sustain we're going to have, what kind of survivability we're going to have. But hopefully with life, with life drain, Firestone, all that kind of stuff, it'll be interesting to see, I guess. Certainly going to be the driving factor, the motivating factor behind getting to like level 35 is just learning the Firestone spell. On level 20, okay. Well, we get Succubus at 20, right? It's really talent heavy class, okay. We get Succubus at 20, right? And if I remember, I don't, like I said, I don't really know Warlock at all. I would never say I do because I don't, but I'm assuming the Succubus, from what I've heard, does pretty decent damage, right?
Peace, friend. Walk with the Earth Mother. Go
Okay, nice. That quest was worth some good experience. It was really only about, I mean, there's the Escort Ringo, there's picking up this item, and then the Pterodax. There's about 3 more quests I want to do in this zone, and then I want to probably head out of this zone and see what zone we want to hit next. Whether it's going to be Western Plaguelands, or possibly, I'm trying to think what the zones, Felwood, Western Plaguelands. If I expected demo, she'd be even better. Saiba squishy, but does pretty good damage. I thought we were speccing Demonology. Like the one person, who was it? The one person put the post in the chat here, where they wanted me to go with this build, which is Demonology. Yeah, which is what you were saying. Okay, I misread. That's what you said. You said Demo. My brain, I saw Demo. My brain registered Destro for some reason. Yeah, we're definitely going to be going into like a 21-30 build, so it's going to be 20 points into Affliction and like 30 into Demonology. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we definitely want instant cast corruption for sure. Yeah, it stinks we started that warlock. So of course, in the back of my mind, even when I'm playing the hunter here, we're kind of like, I'm kind of wanting to get in there and play that warlock. But we'll get to the warlock probably tomorrow. What was the class I was talking about the other day, Strafe, that I felt like was one of the rare classes that actually is pretty good early on? I think it was the warlock, right? I was saying maybe it was the warlock. Like there's a few classes in Classic WoW and Vanilla WoW that I think are way stronger 1 to 20 than others, and I think the Warlock is probably one of those. I mean, the Warlock does a lot of damage right out the gate, and then also the Rogue as well. Although, yeah, Shamans are pretty good. But then you look at classes like the Druid, like Feral Druid, like Protection Paladin, or even Retribution Paladin, and like, they're not very good out of the gate. Even Warrior is pretty weak, like in the beginning, right? I'd say Rogue, Warrior, Paladin, they're all pretty weak in the beginning. Yeah. Well, it's just not that. I mean, they don't have very many abilities. Like, Paladin has nothing. Like, really, Paladin gets better. I think at level 20, you start to get some stuff, but I feel like Paladin is more of a talent-based class. Well, definitely, Paladin's way more talent-based. The strength of the Paladin comes through your talents. Whereas some classes, like Warlock and there's a lot of spells you get. Mages too, and there's a lot of spells you get. I mean, talents are good too, but as you level up, you're getting spells. Like corruption and life drain and mana burn and mana drain burn or whatever. And is it mana drain? I guess it's mana drain. I don't even know what the mana drain spell's called. The warrior too, the warrior's very talent based too, but the warrior gets quite a few abilities. You get shield block, shield bash, like stuff like whirlwind, intimidation, your fear, and all that kind of stuff. Come on, big damage, big damage. Oh, whiff, completely missed. Big damage. There we go, 369. That's not too bad. I got a 630 experience for killing that mob. Because I'm on rest time. That's a lot of experience for one mob. We do need to kill the frenzied. But it's really dangerous to kill these around lots of other mobs because they'll fear you into all these other mobs. So it's kind of sketchy, man. You're better off getting the ones over here against the side. And there's the fear bomb. Fear bomb! You don't have game time. Oh, man. Get yourself some game time. Warhammer Rogue Trader? What is Warhammer? Is Warhammer you talking about the tabletop game? You're talking about the tabletop game, right? Warhammer's always because I like tabletop RPGs. I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons player. I haven't played in a long time, but I actually love D&D, I mean, my love for RPG MMOs comes from really my love for Dungeons and Dragons. I can't help it. I'm a big nerd, I guess. He's gonna fly around the water. That's funny. He's like treating the water like a fence. Ooh, 406 juicy Raptor Strike crit. Ah, Fear Bomb. My crit's probably really crappy right now. What is it? 3% crit chance. Because my weapon skill's so low. No, right as I started my cast, he fears me, bastard. Yeah, you didn't tell me, Strafe, if Warhammer was a tabletop RPG. I'm gonna have to Google it, aren't I? You Googleizer. Let's see, Warhammer Rogue Trader. Warhammer Rogue Trader. Warhammer 4000, it's a video game. Huh. It's actually a video game? It's tabletop, but it's also on Steam. Yeah, it's on Steam. I was just opening up Steam to check it out.
The rogue trader has fallen. Now I must take up their mantle to restore the dynasty to its former glory, to reclaim what humanity has lost.
Okay. Yeah, not for me, but I mean, is it turn-based? It looks like a turn-based game, right? Okay. Give her reign to explore. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, I hate this quest. You gotta kill like 15 of these pterodactyls, and they're always fearing you, and they're always like in spots that are kind of a pain. And you missed my damn trap. Oh well. One of my favorite tabletop RPGs is Stormbringer, you know, based on the Michael Moorcock books. It's really good. I mean, it's got some flaws, but it's a really fun tabletop RPG. If you RP it correctly, I think it's got a lot of potential. Fear bomb. I never played Pathfinder, but I know a lot of people have talked about it being a good tabletop RPG. I'm gonna have to get to bed pretty soon, guys. It's getting really late. resisted my trap. He doesn't have time anymore? Gotcha. That's what kids will do, man. They'll take all your time away and all your money. I never understand why people have kids. I'm sorry. It's like kids take your time and your money and your sanity, right? I mean, if you want to have kids, more power to you. But man, it is quite the sacrifice. You know, you're sacrificing money, time. Yeah, I'm just being negative because things in my life right now are really, really difficult. So it's just making me a little bit negative, I guess. I hate this quest. I don't like it. I don't like it. So many mobs that these damn pterodactyls will fear you into. It can be a little bit dangerous. Try to pull them into a space where there's fewer mobs. And I can see he resisted my first trap. Ah, another fear. Who is Uri? Random people messaging me. He wants a guild invite. Yuri Yoshida. Let's see. Where are we at on the map? Okay. Pet stun landed right after he feared me. Bastard. I don't like when people I don't boost people. Like when people ask me to boost, I mean that's not the essence of hardcore. The essence of self-found is not having people boost you through content. That's just not, at least not in my mind. Right? I just told him, I said, sorry. To me, self-found does not mean getting boosted. Some people would disagree and say, well, you're just a guilty helping. I'm like, nah, I don't know. I'll help you. Like, it's okay to help someone who's the same level as you, but when you're like 20, 30 levels above the content, I just play on a time frame where it's really hard for me to ever get a group for SFK off. Okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. Didn't mean to make you feel self-conscious about your boosting habits. I didn't mean to make you feel self-conscious about your boosting, your proclivity to be boosted. Definitely don't want to fight that frenzy. Look at that. He'll fear me into all these mobs. And maybe even a devil sword. Ooh. Just for fun. Actually, you know what? While we're over here, we could probably grab our crystal shield. Might as well. I think it also uses the other crystals. I think it does. I hope it does. This person's still talking to me. Did you see this person still whispering me? Do. The fear bomb. Yeah, this person's still like. Damn it, Jillian, learn how to type. What do you mean? Writing my own experience. What to which subreddit? I don't know which subreddit you're talking about. I mean, like what, like a tabletop subreddit? I had a weird experience in high school, which should have been like a red flag on this particular person who in high school was a friend of mine, who turned out to be a real jerk. And the experience that I'm going to tell you about probably should have been a red flag as to that person's behavioral, the person's personality shortcomings, I guess. We were doing Dungeons and Dragons. This person had never played D&D before, and I kind of was showing him kind of how to like be a dungeon master and kind of like the rules of the game, and he wanted to make his own campaign, or like his own dungeon, or like not a campaign, but just a dungeon that we could go through, right? And he spent all this time mapping out a map and doing this campaign, and it just was really, and it was, of course, I was young. I was a teenager, right? And me and my brother were both, experienced D&D players, I guess. I mean, not, whatever. And his campaign was like, I don't remember why, because it was so long ago, but he did a lot of stuff that was just really kind of didn't make sense. Like, it was just like, from a fantasy point of view, you know what I mean? It'd be like putting like way too much treasure in the map, and making things like some parts really, really too hard, some parts too easy. It wasn't balanced, and it just wasn't well constructed. And I remember me and my brother were kind of hard on him, saying, "Oh, we kind of saying you need to not put so much loot for the party." And we were just trying to give him stuff, like criticism, constructive criticism, but I think we came across too cruel in how we did it, or maybe we were laughing at him or something. I don't remember, dude. Again, I was just a kid. I mean, you know, I was just a teenager, so of course I was stupid. Everybody's dumb when they're a teenager. And but he flipped out, like he freaked out, and he like took his whole like all his notes and his map he'd drawn out, and he like threw a big hissy fit and said, "I'm not playing D&D ever again," and he threw it all in the garbage, and I was just like, Jesus. I was like, you know what? You know what I mean? There's no reason to react like that. And then I found out later that he just was a real jerk. Like, I remember I had loaned the guy some money once, like quite a bit of money for a high schooler. I didn't have a lot of money. I was really poor in high school. I remember I loaned him some money with the stipulation that he would pay me back within like when he got paid, like at the end of the week or something. And he didn't. He didn't pay me back, and it went like a month. And he didn't pay me back the money he owed me. And like I said, I was really poor, so me giving money to somebody was a big deal because I didn't have any money. And I remember I was because this is what you did back in the 80s. You know, we were at a mall, right? I was going to like an arcade. This is probably back in like 86. And I remember I saw him, I ran into him at the mall. And he was going to buy some stuff, and I'm like, actually, I think he was coming out of a movie or something, and he said he was gonna go buy some shit or something. And I said, if you're going to movies and if you're going to buy stuff, I'm like, why haven't you paid me back the money you owe me? I go, that's pretty shitty, dude. And he got all pissed off, and so he pulled his wallet out, and he took like the money he owed me, which was like $20 or something, and he just threw it on the ground. Like, goes, here's your fucking money, and he threw it on the ground. And I was like, what a fucking dick, you know? Oh, it's green and red. Yeah, right. Oh, even try to swell. Anyways, but like the whole point of the story was like I think his like flip out on the Dungeons & Dragons crap kind of like showcase. It was like a red flag for this guy's got some personality issues, you know, because those types of behaviors are just, you know, just bad behavior, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I had really good. You know, my parents divorced when I was really young, but I was really lucky in that my mother was like really, like a really good mother. You know, she really taught me like proper manners and proper respect. And, you know, she just taught me the right way to be nice to people. You know, I was always pretty nice to people. I always had manners and stuff. And if I ever borrowed money from somebody, I would always pay it back. You know, I certainly wouldn't be going out spending money when I owed somebody else money. You know what I mean? So, I think in today's world, it's even worse, man. The people you run into today, there's so many people, from what I've seen, that are just, they're not raised right. You know, the kids, their parenting is so bad. These kids are growing up and they have no manners. Like even like in the house, you know, we bought a new house, right, pretty recently. And even the housing, like the subdivision I live in, the kids, man, like the fucking, like what, just like the no respect for anything. Like they drive their stupid like e-bikes through people's backyards and shit. And I'm like, man, I never did that when I was a kid. I wasn't driving like a motorcycle right through someone's backyard. I'm like, I mean, I did do, you know, I was rebellious too, and I did some shit that probably was not great, but you know, whatever. I'm on a tangent here. I'm on a tangent. Never mind. Yeah, I just well, it was one of those things in high school. It was like a lesson I had to learn. Like not everybody's got the same upbringing, you know. Not everybody's gonna people may seem nice on the surface, but that doesn't mean they're nice people. You know, and that guy turned out to be really arrogant. Like he was on the track team, and he just turned out to be super arrogant. And after that kind of spat where he owed me money and didn't pay me back, and then threw the money on the ground, I never talked to him again after that. And this was like someone who was like, I don't want to say he was a best friend of mine, but I mean we were very good friends. We spent a lot of time together. And after that, I never even talked to him again. I was like, "Fuck you, dude." I was like, "That's, you know, that's just you being a dick." You know, I almost got in a fight with him when he did that. But we were in like a very public place, and I didn't really want to start a fight right outside of a movie theater when there was tons of people around. It just would have been, you know, a shit show. But I almost punched the guy in the face, man. I was not happy. You know, I was big into martial arts too when I was at that age. You know, had been in martial arts for a couple of years, and you know, I wasn't like super skilled, but I was pretty skilled at martial arts. I was a pretty good fighter. You know, we did a lot of sparring and a lot of duels and stuff, and um, I'm sure I probably could have beat his butt, to be honest. But I wasn't really that. I wasn't raised that way. You know, I wasn't raised to solve disgruntlements with combat. You know, but still, even so, he pissed me off so much. I wanted to punch him. It was kind of, you know, I wanted to hit him. I didn't. I almost did. I almost hit him, but I was like, you know what? He isn't worth it. Not worth my time. Skill checks. Initiative check. DM phone favor everyone else. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was really lucky in that I had a DM. I think it was Mick. I think it was Mick. It was so long ago, and he was just a really good DM. Like really good. He was this like nerdy guy, big dude, like you know, like 6 foot. Well, maybe he seemed big to me, but I was pretty. You know, I wasn't. I don't know, maybe he was like 6'2", 6'3", but he had a big beard, and he looked like he was from the 70s. Like even though this was like in the mid 80s, he still had kind of that 70s look with like the kind of bowl haircut, and he had these big thick glasses. But he was like really into music, like you know, like Ozzy Osbourne and shit. And he had a huge snake, right? He had this like rec room in his house, right? Which is where we'd game, and he had this huge like boa constrictor that would just slither around the room while we were gaming. So you'd be sitting there playing D&D, and this like, you know, this like 10-foot snake would just slither right past you. It was cool, man. It was like you're like this is some good ambiance we got going on, right? But he was a really good DM because he role played. You know, if you ever, you know, he role played everything, and he didn't favor anybody, and he was, you know, he understood the concept of, you know, making it. The problem with most D&D campaigns is the DMs just are, like you said, they favor people. They're not brutal enough. Like when parties take hits that should kill them, the DM feels bad, and so he, instead of killing the player, he just lets them get knocked unconscious or something, you know. But Mick wasn't like that. Mick's like, if you get hit and it knocks you to death, you're dead. You know, you're dead. So, which is the way I like D&D. D&D should be. It's the way I like MMOs too, but no, most MMOs aren't like that. I mean, if you're, you know, D&D should be dangerous, and if you take risks and you fail, your character can die, and then that's what reroll, baby. That's what reroll is all about, man. I died so many times in D&D. Like I died probably I died 3-4 times doing campaigns with Mick. I think my characters got killed. But a lot of people, when they first play D&D, they don't understand that, and they can't handle. It's like people playing hardcore WoW and they can't handle dying. People play D&D and they can't handle dying. You know, I spent all this time creating this character sheet and making up this RP and how this character looks, and then I just get killed, and I'm like, that's D&D, baby. It's life. You know, maybe you should have took better care with what decisions you were making, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's all about Dungeons and Dragons is all about the Dungeon Master. That's it, man. Dungeons and Dragons is as fun. The fun in D&D is directly proportional to the skill of your Dungeon Master. You know, that's it, man. If you've got a good DM who knows how to keep everybody in the group involved and make it fun for everybody, then the game's going to be really fun. I've got all this stuff. I hate throwing away Grom's blood because it's so hard to get Grom's blood. But let's just throw away this gold thorn. Yeah, I've been lucky. Whenever I played D&D, it was mostly a good experience because it was either just me and my brother and some of my friends playing, or we were playing with my friend Mick, who was the good DM I was talking about. So most of our experiences with D&D were really good. And then there's a place nearby here. It used to be right next to me. It's called Critical Hit Gaming, and they host D&D campaigns along with all kinds of other board games, you know, Warhammer and different stuff, throughout the week. I never got a chance to play over there, but I always wanted to. But I never liked the whole like D&D Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, like the 5 whatever. I mean, I like the old D&D. I don't like the new rules. I don't like the new rule set. You know, I like the old stuff. I like the old rules, the old to hit armor class 0, and I don't know. I just felt maybe because that's what I was used to. Okay, so this takes red and green, which okay, we're cool. We're cool with that. I mean, maybe we get 6. I can't get another one. All right, so let's get back to the camp, and I can go to bed. Yeah. But I've always wanted to do my favorite RPG, like I said, has always been Stormbringer because I like the world of Stormbringer. I like Michael Moorcock's universe. I like the multi-planes, and I like the what do they call it? I can't remember what they call it. Not really the anti-hero, but I like the kind of the way Elric was. You know, what do they call it? The Eternal Champion, I guess. The Eternal Champion, or let's see. I'm kind of blanking on this here. My brain's not working. Let's see. Let's ask ChatGPT, since my brain doesn't want to work right now. In Elric of yeah, here we go. So Elric of Mana was a classic example of the tragic anti-hero in dark fantasy. He's very different from traditional fantasy heroes like Conan the Barbarian. But yeah, I was trying to. He's basically the. They call it the anti-hero, but there's actually another name for it. But yeah, Stormbringer is just really cool. I like the world. I like the it's very diverse. There's all these different types of, you know, races, but a lot of it is based on the regions that you come from. So like when you create a character, like the region you grew up in has a huge impact on the type of character you are, you know. Like if you were born in the Weeping Wastes, you're probably a fighter. Your physical appearance typically isn't as good, but your constitution is going to be higher because you've had to live a very difficult life. You've had to understand how to survive in the desert where there's not a lot of food, you know. So there's different stat bonuses that you get and stat negatives when you create a character from different regions. Obviously, if you're like a Melnibonian, you're going to have probably a plus roll to your intellect or wisdom, because Melnibonians are great sorcerers, but there's a lot of lore behind each of those regions, and I just really like it. I think it's really cool. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings. I mean, if you think about it, Lord of the Rings has really, really deep lore, you know. Same shit, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Time is money, friend. Keep it real.
Hmm.
Talk to me.
Yeah, well, we can probably sell these weapons. I don't think we're gonna need the Greater Scythe anymore, but I'm hesitant to sell it because I don't know.
Glad I could help.
Good day to you. See you around.
But I can't
Safe
imagine we'd ever need it. We've got our wrapped package here with our scrolls. Yeah, just sell everything.
Well, spit it out. Hurry back.
What's up?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna need it. I'm just gonna sell those weapons. We shouldn't need those weapons. We've got this pole arm. Alright, so we sell all your gear now. I'm not gonna, back to punching mobs. That'll never happen, man. The punching mobs to level 12 or 13, that was brutal. That was brutal. What was I watching earlier? Okay, well, we're just about halfway through this level. So that's not too bad. We did almost half a level in 2 hours because I was just into 54 when I started. So that's not too bad. If I could do a level every 4 hours, I'd be pretty happy at this level, you know? I'm just trying to decide whether I want to switch to alchemy or if I want to stick with leatherworking for a little bit longer. I think I should. I just can't see me. I can't see me crafting much more leather at this point. I don't know, man. Man, my inventory is a mess. I don't think we're gonna need moss a gate for anything. Pretty sure we don't, but
Hurry back! Oh, do I have a deal for you? For real?
I got the best deals anywhere. Be good.
been testing different class combos. Nice. Let's see if we can get this stream set up. Let's just jump on the Warlock real quick. And let's go. Still messing around with the UI on this one. Alright, cool. Anyways, I'm off to bed, guys. Thanks for listening to my rambling nonsense, because was all over the place tonight talking about crazy stuff. Yeah, that sounds cool though, the Rogue Trader. I definitely am looking forward to playing different games. You know, I've played WoW for so long that I definitely am kind of bored of World of Warcraft. I enjoy WoW, but you know, I'm looking for, something new to play. I'm hoping that Chrono Odyssey. I liked Chrono Odyssey when I played the last playtest, and I'm wondering when they're going to do the next playtest. I would imagine it's going to be within the next 3 months. Because Because if what I heard is correct, they're planning on releasing Chrono Odyssey sometime in the beginning of next year, I believe. Which is still a ways away, but I still would think that they would want to do more play tests, but maybe they're afraid to do the play tests and get negative feedback. They're making so many changes. Like if you go to the Steam play page for Chrono Odyssey, the amount of updates they have made are significant, you know. But I enjoyed Chrono Odyssey. I enjoyed the combat. I enjoyed the world. I thought the world bosses were kind of the bosses that ran around the world. They weren't super difficult, but you could like solo them, but they were challenging. I thought they were really fun, and I thought the combat system was pretty cool. And they just had a lot of stuff they needed to fix, but even so, the game had a lot of potential. And I'm just worried that they're gonna like nerf it too much. You know, that's what I'm concerned about. Is they're gonna make the game. They're gonna try to, because a lot of the changes around the developer notes focus around making content really easier in a lot of ways, which I'm kind of worried about that. You know, they've added this matrix system. This news is the last developer notes, which came out on the May 6th, right? So they added, and I don't know what this is, but the matrix system, it sounds like if you've ever played Path of Exile, like node based. What's a typical node base? You know, let's even ask ChatGPT, right? Just out of curiosity. Let's see what it can come up with. Chrono Odyssey, an MMO current in development, has said this, right? In the developer. It's recently about Matrix. What Chrono Odyssey is describing sounds like a hybrid of several well-known systems. Systems combined into something more fluid and combat focused. Based on the wording they use, the Matrix is probably not just a traditional passive talent tree. It sounds closer to a build-defining specialization grid, stat routing system, combat behavior modifier framework, weapon identifier enhancer, and pseudo-class customization layer. So basically there's no... Let's see. The Matrix system is a node-based progression system that moves away from linear paths, allowing characters to be tailored to specific combat styles. This system is designed to maintain the unique identity of each class and weapon while offering more specialized combat experience. Even within the same weapon, combat styles are further diversified based on the stats allocated through the Matrix, acquired passive skills and attributes. So ChatGPT seems to think that it's going to be structured similar to this. Like you have like precision, mobility, core weapon, aggression, control, utility. So basically you'll have a weapon and you can like push your weapon to be, you know, to maybe give you more ability, or maybe you push your weapon to give you more threat, I'm assuming, if aggression is threat. Or maybe your weapon, you could push it more towards precision, which is probably critical strike. Or you can push it towards control and utility, like stun and maybe slows. So that's, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's, so what it sounds like to me is it's more based around the weapons. Because if you read here, it really sounds like the Matrix system is more, because in Chrono Odyssey you can have two weapon sets, right? You can weapon swap between two weapon sets. So you, like if you're the class that I played, you could have a sword and shield, and you could have, would be your one weapon set, and then you could switch to your other weapon set, which would be like dual swords, for example. Kind of like New World, like kind of like thinking about New World. But within these weapon sets, each weapon has its own like talents, and you can specialize your weapons to maybe do more damage, or like I said, have more control, or you know, maybe have your weapons do more stuns. So that's what it sounds like, which is cool. I mean, I actually like that system. I mean, it gives you the ability to, gives you a way to create two characters who are using the same weapons who play completely differently. Like you could see a guy with a sword and shield who's very tanky and a good tank, but then you could also see a guy with a sword and shield who's does a lot of damage, and he's not a good tank, you know what I mean, even though he's got a sword and shield. So that's interesting. Anyway, so I just think that's, but that's the game that I'm looking forward to the most, is Chrono Odyssey. But I don't know when they're going to do the next. I don't know when they're going to do the next playtest. Is what I'm trying to say. So we just have to wait and see. Anyways, I'm gonna jump to bed. I'm gonna jump in bed, and I will catch you guys later. I hope everybody has a good one. Peace out. See you, Strafe. Have a good one, man.